Boy, you really do. The Giants winning yesterday 30-10 over Washington. From the bottom to the top in just 1 year. Detroit under Bobby Ross coming back. They're still alive to their playoff hopes. Michael Bates fields the kickoff in his own end zone about a yard. Let's look at the Carolina offense led by the quarterback Kerry Collins. Big quarterback. 22-14 record as a starter. Brockermeyer, Campbell, Frank Garcia, the center, Skrepenak, Norberto Davids, Garrido. Fred Lane, the sensational rookie, will do the bulk of the ball carrying with Scott Green in front of him. Muhsin Muhammad, Caruth, and Wesley Walls. Collins gives to Lane. No gain. The Carolina defense, the Green Bay Packers defense, beg your pardon. Gabe Wilkins, Kuberski in place of Gilbert Brown, Dotson and Reggie White. Brian Williams, Bernardo Harris, and Seth Joyner has taken over at the other outside linebacker spot. Doug Evans, Robinson, Butler, and Newsom. Lane again. Quick force. Back to the line of scrimmage. No more.
You know what the Green Bay Packers did, Pat? They went into 5 defensive backs on that play, and they had Mike Pryor in there, so they really had 2 safeties. And the 2 safeties were up, and they were going to get up quickly to either side of the run, and that's the way that they get 8 men up. You see, here's their front group, and then they got a safety. If they run to this side, boom, you come up like this. If they run to this side, boom, you come up to that side. Now watch when they start out here. You see right here? You see that quick force? Whatever side Fred Lane goes to, they got a quick force on that side.
And here comes the blitz, and Collins just barely got rid of it and threw it behind. Good coverage by Doug Evans. I said Newsom was in the starting lineup. He's not. He's been out all year long, just about.
Isn't that something with Fritz Shurmur, though, the way that he mixes up these defenses? He starts off in a base defense. Then on second down, he gives them a nickel. Not a nickel for pass defense, but a nickel to stop the run. And then on third down, he gives them that blitz, and Kerry Collins has to throw the ball before he's ready.
Ken Walter to punt. Welcome to those of you who watched Cincinnati beat Dallas. Welcome to Erickson Stadium, home of the Carolina Panthers. Darren Sharper returns for the Packers, and they'll get their first offensive go at it. Behind Brett Favre. What a year he's having. The Green Bay offense led by 2-time most valuable player 2 consecutive times, Brett Favre, maybe 3 depending on how you look at it this year. Verba, Taylor, Winters, Timberland, and Dotson. Levens, Henderson, Freeman, Brooks, and Chamorro. And Brett Favre, his 92nd consecutive start. That's the longest active streak. And he's going to throw it on first down or run with it on first down. And there goes Brett Favre. Slides in Carolina territory.
Only Brett Favre.
On defense for Carolina, Sean King, Greg Cragen, Les Miller, and Mike Fox. Latham, Mills, and Barrow, the 3 linebackers. Tyrone Poole and Rod Smith, the cornerbacks. Minter and Cota, the 2 safeties. 2 good ones. Favre to Levens. Levens drags a tackler for a couple of yards.
Yeah, that's one of the changes the Panthers made this season, is going to a 4-man line. Of course, they still use a 3-man line, but they're playing more and more of the 4-man line, especially on first down, like that last down there, just to get bigger guys up front. When they lost Kevin Green and then Michael Barrow took his place, they lost the size and they didn't have the same kind of defense, so they use Mike Fox in a 4-man line a lot on running down.
2nd and 8. Levens to the 41.
Yeah, this is the way that they line up their 4-3. They have Fox, Miller, Cragen, and King, and then Barrow, Sam Mills, and Latham. And that's what they play now in running downs again, to get a bigger guy in this position where Mike Fox would play the end instead of Michael Barrow being a linebacker playing in that location.
3rd down and 2. Favre to Henderson, and he gets the Packer 1st down.
Henderson made a pretty good move there because he was going to go to the right, and there was no hole there. In fact, they got stuffed on that side, and he finds a little spot in here. Here's where he's going to find a spot right here. He starts here, and there's nothing there, and he has to get back because this is where the soft spot becomes, because he gets stuffed on that right side. You see there? There's nothing there, but he feels that little soft spot back on that left side.
He's had a heck of a year. Here's Favre back to throw it. He, too, has had a heck of a year. I think somebody hit his arm just as he let that one go. Antonio Freeman was the intended target.
The one thing with that 4-man line, you always have Les Miller around there. Les Miller is like 6'7". Mike Fox is like 6'6". So you get those 2 big guys that you have to throw around. You can't throw over them. And I think that that's the tough thing. Saying they both line up on that same side over there on that left side. And sometimes it's hard to throw on that side because of them. Les Miller knocked down like 3 last week.
2nd and 10. Favre gets to Henderson again. Henderson played collegiately at North Carolina. Previous play.
Watch this, how we talked about Les Miller coming up there, and Brett Favre feels the pressure of that hand, takes the ball away from it, recocks it, and throws it. I mean, the things that Brett Favre does in a football game are amazing.
They look subtle, but they make him so much more effective. 3rd and 8. Here's Favre. Fires high for Brooks. He throws the ball so hard that sometimes it just takes off.
Well, you know, Mike Holmgren was saying last night that, that it's no fun in practice for the receivers. You know, they want to practice, they want to do their timing, but he throws the ball so hard in practice that those receivers, I mean, Brooks and Freeman and Beebe and those guys, their hands are hurting all the time.
Yeah.
They got, fingers that don't go straight, they go sideways.
Craig Hendricks punt. Headed for the Tyrone Poole, who was back to handle it inside. 0-0 score, 1st quarter, 10:27 left. Carolina with the ball. Fred Lane straight ahead out to the 15. Couple of key injuries for both teams. Big Gilbert Brown, who anchors that Packer rushing defense, has an ankle injury, and he's going to rest. He did not even make the trip. And Eric Davis, who suffered a concussion last week against Dallas, is questionable for next week. He said he still hasn't regained his equilibrium. Lane. Enough for a first. Reggie White.
In fact, talking about those injuries, Mike Holmgren was telling us last night that he's going to rest Gilbert Brown all the way to the first playoff game. So we know that the Packers play next week. Then they're going to have a bye. So Gilbert Brown, in essence, is going to have about 3 or 4 weeks off and really rest that ankle and get healthy again, because we all know how important he is to this Green Bay Packer defense.
Collins back to throw. Dumps it out incomplete. Intended for Scott Green.
In fact, when Gilbert Brown is in there in the middle, there is no running in the middle when he's in there and he's healthy. When Gilbert Brown isn't there in the middle, there is some running in the middle. And I'm not talking badly about Kuberski there or Santana Dotson, but Gilbert Brown just plays the run in the middle better than anyone else.
He's just solid, just like a wall. Here's Lane again. Running left, short side of the field, no gain.
That's one thing that, that the Carolina Panthers talk about is there really aren't going to do a lot of passing to the outside receivers, just drop back, throw on 1st and 2nd down. They have to get some running game going. Then when they get the running game going, then they can fake the run and go some play pass And then if they can get them to commit 8 men to the run, then they have to win some of these battles outside with their wide receivers.
Collins under pressure, and down he goes. The Packers with the blitz.
And that's Brian Williams. But I'll say this, that was a coverage sack. I mean, there was no one there. I mean, they're going to get there on the pass rush, and you're going to see Brian Williams. He's going to come right here from the outside, and he's going to tackle Kerry Collins. But I was watching the coverage downfield, Pat, and there was no one that had any step or any kind of opening on any of those Packer defensive backs.
Sharper back deep for the Packers. Short kick. And he's down immediately. Packers will take over on the Carolina end of the field at about the 47 or 48. Dwight Stone special teams. For the Panthers, Wesley Walls and Michael Bates. It is indeed an honor to be voted to the Pro Bowl, especially when you're voted there in part by your peers. Far back to throw it. Screen pass. Flag on the play as Levens fumbles. But the Packers get it back. Larry Nimmers is the referee. Sean King is the injured Panther. That was a quick flag. Here's Favre going deep. And open. Looks like Antonio Freeman, and touchdown Green Bay.
Well, it was just a matter of time. You knew that when you have an injury at corner, Eric Davis is in there. Rod Smith is playing that corner for the first time. You're going to try him out, and you're going to try him out early. And that's exactly what they do. Here he is over here. Here's Rod Smith, and they want to see what does Rod Smith have. And this is what it looks like. You see, now we come over. Here's Antonio Freeman. He just runs right by Rod Smith. I think the first thing you learn is that the safety had a bad angle, and Rod Smith doesn't have a lot of speed because Antonio Freeman, like I said, just ran right by him.
I'll tell you what, the extra point's good. That ball never got over 10 feet off the ground. That was a line in the first quarter. Bates and Stone back deep for Carolina. Line drive kickoff will be handled by Bates, maybe. At the 3. Packers down in great shape, and they stop him at the 9. Here's the touchdown again.
Yeah, look, here's Rod Smith here. Here's Antonio Freeman. And you see you have man-to-man here, man-to-man here. Then you have Chad Cota here, who should be helping. But like you said, Pat, that the way Brett Favre throws that ball, it doesn't stay in the air that long. And Rod Smith just get run right by, and then Chad Cota holds a little while, and Brett Favre just drills that thing in there. You know, Brett Favre every week does some things that there's no other quarterback can do.
And you can't imagine he can do them.
Now, last week he did a scramble and threw a touchdown pass to Levens that only Brett Favre could do.
Almost intercepted by the Packers, and right now let's take you to James Brown at the Fox Television Center for a McDonald's game break.
Had a wild finish between playoff hopefuls Detroit and Minnesota. Johnny Morton pass interference on Dwayne Washington in the closing seconds. This sets up a 1-yard TD strike to Herman Moore with 3 seconds left, and the point after is good. Philadelphia, Atlanta, Dallas are all eliminated. Detroit controls its own destiny. Pat and John.
Packers 7, Panthers nothing. Panthers have the ball. They give to Lane, and Lane goes over the left side for about 3 or 4. Anybody who thought the Packers were coming into this game a little bit relaxed, they are giving Gilbert Brown a chance to rest, but they're playing with some intensity.
Well, you know, last night Brett Favre was even worried about that. He was saying that, you know, that he worried about it last week against Tampa Bay, and then they won Tampa. They won at Tampa. They clinched their division, and he said, now I'm worried about it again for today's game. But if you're going to be a champion, if you are a champion, you don't have letdown.
Fumble. Big pile up. The Packers saying they got it, but the referee says the men in black have it.
I'll tell you one thing, Fritz Shermer is really mixing up these defenses, and he's bringing the backside corner. You see they come from that backside. It's Doug Evans here, and Kerry Collins is looking the other way. Not only does he not see Doug Evans come from that backside, he doesn't even feel him. And that's the second time. He started out, Fritz did that to him on second down earlier, did it on that third down.
Darren Sharper, there's another injury. As retreating to the sideline is Davids Garrido. And Doug Evans.
That's a big right tackle who's going to be in a battle today with Reggie White.
Ken Walter, the rookie punter, standing in his own end zone. Sharper out at about midfield. It's a good kick. Excellent kick. Sharper has it get away from him. Bounces out of bounds.
It's going to be the Packers' ball because the Panthers didn't recover it while it was still inbounds.
Right.
The last one to touch it was a Green Bay Packer. The last one.
It was the Panther who recovered it, but not before he went out of bounds.
And if the Packers have any one area to worry about, I think it is their punt return.
Yeah. Dorsey Levens gets the carry. Sean King, by the way, has a sprained knee, and his return is questionable.
Yeah, remember the play that he got leg whip on. Here's Ross Verba here. Here's Sean King here. And it's going to be a screen to this side. You want to get the defender's hands down, so you try and cut him. But what Ross Verba did is he leg whipped him.
The old leg whip.
Yep, the old leg whip put Sean King in the house.
Here's Brett Favre. Intended for Brooks.
I think Brett Favre just threw that one away, don't you?
Yeah.
Because
he threw it at the heater.
Yeah, I think he was watching Brooks, and Brooks was pretty well covered. And once you start to roll to that right side or to any side, you're pretty well committed to having to throw the ball to that side. And in the old days, Brett Favre would have stopped and probably thrown it across his body and all the way across the field for an interception. But now he knows when you get out there in that point of no return, you either throw it away or you have a guy on that side that's open.
3rd and 9. Split backs. Here comes the Carolina blitz. The Packers pick it up. Favre is high again and incomplete. Intended for Shimura.
Favre is ready to blow the carbon out of this arm today because he's only completed one pass, but that was that long one for a touchdown to Antonio Freeman. But he's been throwing, I've been clocking him here, and he's been throwing 99-mile-an-hour fastballs. Every ball he's thrown has been clocked at 99 miles an hour.
You put the gun on it, did you?
Yeah, I did. Each pass.
There's Craig Hentrick back to kick. And Tyrone Poole back deep with it. Panthers still on his feet. Poole gets to about the 10, and again the Panthers start deep in their own end zone. Tomorrow on Fox, it's an episode so outrageous, so controversial, we can't even tell you about it. Don't miss the show that'll have everybody talking, and on an all-new Ally McBeal tomorrow after Melrose Place. Can't even tell you about it.
Yeah, that's either big or bad. Talking about big and bad, that Kerry Collins has really never gotten back to what he was a year ago.
No.
Remember in the preseason, he broke his jaw and had surgery and has 2 plates in his jaw and came back. Even Dom Capers said he brought him back too early, and he wasn't comfortable in the pocket. He lost 15 pounds, and he's just not the same guy.
So the injured Packer player.
Davis Jervey, who we just saw make a play there. But as I was saying about Collins, is he's never gotten comfortable in the pocket again this year.
Lane gets across the 15, about the 17. Bernardo Harris tripped him up.
He came back after he had the surgery and the plates in his jaw, and then he has that bigger helmet. In fact, he said that helmet kind of reminded him you know, every week, you know, that he still had the plates in there and he still had the jaw and he still had that hit by Romanowski. He lost 15 pounds.
Lane again. Close to a first down. The face mask is bigger and heavier. It took him a while to get used to it.
Yeah, and then he said, and then losing the 15 pounds, he said he just felt frail.
Yeah.
And, you know, didn't feel like the same guy. And you could see that he wasn't as comfortable in the pocket. He was a little more jumpy, and he admits that that's true. And he thinks he's over it. I don't know that he's over it yet.
Here he is back in the pocket. The fire intended for Wesley Walls, his favorite target, incomplete.
You know, you talked about Pro Bowl players. Wesley Walls is one of those Pro Bowl players, and also Kerry Collins' favorite target. But you have to get out of that. If you're going to be a running team, the tight end can't be the only guy you're going to, because then they shrink down the field. I mean, you have to get where you have to take the outsides of these fields and you have to defend the outside of the field. So you have to be able to work these guys on the outside, or the defense is just going to gang up on your middle.
Second and long. He'll work. This time he takes a look, and he's going to take off with it himself and gets out of bounds after he picked up 3 yards. George Kuntz made sure he went out.
And as I've looked at this passing game of Carolina so far, I have not seen a receiver open.
No, I haven't either.
And, you know, it's easy to say that, you know, Kerry Collins isn't the same. He's 0 for 4. He can't. But I haven't seen Muhammad get open on his side. I haven't seen Ray Caruth get open on his side. And we haven't seen Wesley Walls get open. And they're kind of, the Packers are trying to take Wesley Walls away.
Anthony Johnson is the lone setback. That's Walls, who's still in the game at tight end. And here's Kerry Collins. Incomplete. Intended for Muhammad.
Muhsin Muhammad, and just as he was there, he got hit. And you see what they do to Wesley Walls. You see, here's Wesley Walls, and they're going to play him inside with Roy Butler. He just takes him away right now. I mean, that's single coverage. And then Robinson was on Caruth, and he was right there when Collins threw him the ball.
That's very good single coverage by Leroy Butler. Ken Walter back again.
He took away the inside. He jumped on that inside, and Walls was running a crossing or inside pattern.
Sharper fields this one cleanly, and again the Panthers do a good job covering. Next Saturday. Doesn't seem like it should be the end, does it?
Well, it's either the end or the start of some real exciting football.
Here's Favre. He's going to make it exciting. Again, he throws high to Robert Brooks. And Wesley Walls, who's been bothered by all kind of ribs and hip and knee problems, but still playing.
And again, he's the go-to guy of this Carolina Panther team, and if they're ever going to get anything going in the passing game, they have to take some pressure off him, and the way to take the pressure off him is not a running game, but like I said earlier, passing to the wide receivers.
2nd and 10. Favre, reverse coming, and this is Brooks. Brooks out of bounds.
That Favre's crazy.
Yep.
Did you see? I mean, did you see? Brooks is carrying the ball on a reverse, and Brett Favre is leading him. Now most quarterbacks will do that if they have to, but Brett Favre is out here. He's leading. He's like a pulling guard, but he really wants to do it. You know, I mean, he's not just out there for some window dressing. I mean, he's looking for someone to hit, and he's going to throw.
He does. A good block.
I know. He's going to throw and get someone open. He wants to break this thing all the way. But I mean, Brett Favre can run pretty well, and then his timing is pretty well to throw and get a guy down.
Yeah. To throw it, does to Freeman. Another first down for the Packers. Tyrone Poole makes the stop.
You know, Ron Wolf, the general manager and vice president and all those things of the Green Bay Packers, the guy who, along with Mike Holmgren, has done such a great job of building this Packer team, was just telling us that, you know, this Packer team has some stars, and they have some guys that are on the verge of being a star. And one of the guys he was talking about is Antonio Freeman. He says he's very close to becoming a star in this league.
I think he's a star already. Here's Favre. It's in it for Antonio Freeman, one of those stars. The big plays he's made already. I think he might have arrived. Maybe he's not a star, but he's got a lot of shine.
Well, you know, for years the Green Bay Packer offense and Mike Holmgren offense, going all the way back to Bill Walsh and all that, was always a flanker offense. And the flanker on this team is Robert Brooks, and the end away from the flanker, or the X, is Antonio Freeman. So the go-to guy has been more the flanker than it has been the X. But now I think they're getting to Antonio Freeman more.
This is Dorsey Levens, who picks up about 3 or 4.
You know, the Mike Holmgren scripts the first 15 plays, so we just finished a script. You can see 16 plays, but he wanted to be balanced, and he wanted to test some things. One of the things that I said he wanted to test was Rod Smith, that left corner. But you see that he's had 8 runs and 8 passes.
Well, you want balance ideally, but he had said we want to run the ball today.
Yeah, he doesn't want to throw it more than 25 times.
Out to Henderson, and Henderson will get the first down. Very quietly, Henderson has had quite a year.
Well, you know, you think of Henderson, you know, William Henderson is a big 250-pound a blocking fullback, but he's a lot more than that. I mean, he has some talent. I mean, he has some talent to run with the ball, and he has some talent to get open and catch the ball also.
And he goes about 250 at least.
And I think the way football's going is everyone has to have in their offense some 2-back set and a fullback like a Henderson.
Far back to throw. Blitz is coming. Dorsey Levens was the intended receiver, incomplete.
You know, that's the frustrating thing for pass rushers is Greg Cragen was there, and he has Favre in his sights, but Favre isn't going to let you get him. I mean, you just watch Favre here and watch Cragen. You see Cragen here, and Favre just like toys with him. I mean, he sees him coming. It's just like playing takeaway or something. You know, and here's Cragen. He's going, whoa, 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 feel like he's going to get him. Favre just takes a step and throws the ball.
3 wide receivers set up for the Packers this time. Favre appears to be changing the play. Now he calls a time.
Confidence in your arm to throw that ball in there to Robert Brooks.
People all around him. From 20 yards out, he's still got it in there.
But I mean, you know that you have something. You know that you're going to throw the ball when you can get the ball and get it into here, when there's really going to be, as we see at the end of it, there's going to be 2 guys around Robert Brooks and a 3rd guy coming. You just watch him in the middle right there, and as he catches the ball, there's 2 guys hanging on him.
If Longwell's extra point is good. If the ball didn't get there exactly when it got there, it would either have been an interception or a knockdown. Amazing.
You know, Robert Brooks is one of those guys that is so tough. He doesn't worry about anything. He's just going to catch the ball. I mean, he'll lay out for anything. He'll run inside. He'll run the ends. He'll run the slants. He'll run the post. He'll just do anything. And so you have to give him some protection. And you see here, he just steps up. Here he comes right down the middle. Now, he knows that there's going to be a collision there because he's really throwing into double coverage.
Yeah.
But when you have a cannon like Brett Favre's cannon, you can throw into double coverage.
14-0. That's Lane. Breaks 1 tackle and keeps going. Doug Evans brought him down. David's Garrido headed for the locker room. And Scott Green.
Matt Elliott is in there now at right tackle, who will be going against Reggie White, but Reggie White isn't in there.
Yeah.
Paul Frase is in there, and that's an interesting story. Paul Frase, he's a guy that a month ago had back surgery. He had a disc in his back, and they did it with microsurgery, where they would go in, they made like 4 little holes in there, then they went in and would just take a piece of the disc out and just pull it out piece by piece. And then 2 weeks later, he's out working out again.
And playing today. Right now for a McDonald's game break, let's return to James Brown at the Fox Television Center in Hollywood.
Pat, as you know, a lot of folks are forecasting great things for Jake the Snake Plummer. Take a look at him. His first career touchdown run of the 10-yard variety, and Arizona up 7-3. Hey, Pat, John was that nimble-footed on the sidelines before, wasn't he?
I don't remember John being exactly that nimble-footed, but what brought that up?
I don't know. What was I doing on the sideline?
Nimble-footed.
I spent a lot of time on the sidelines, but never associated with the word nimble.
And so the Pack down at the 19. They lead 14-0 already, and Favre. One-handed catch by Dorsey Levin. Maybe he shouldn't have caught it. Wasn't Dorsey Levin, was it? Yes, it was.
You know, Pat, you see a lot of things happen in the sidelines. Here's Jim McNally, the offensive line coach. He's trying to get his group together. See, he gets his group together. Now he forgot his blackboard. So he goes to get his blackboard. He sticks his head right into the camera. That's an old offensive line coach. I mean, that's the offensive line coach. And Jim McNally is one of the real good ones. Remember, he's with the Cincinnati Bengals for years, had Anthony Munoz. They're all the same.
Favre, Brooks, first down.
Well, I'll tell you, does he fire that ball in there? I mean, there aren't, you talk about, John Elway can do some of these things. Dan Marino over his career was able to do some, but guy doesn't have to be open long. Watch him. He's going to throw that post off a play pass. He's going to throw it in there to the right. And Robert Brooks really isn't open. I mean, it's not like something like he has 2 or 3 steps. He has like no steps.
But you better catch it or you'll have some broken ribs.
Well, you have to catch it. I mean, he sticks in there. If you just put your hands up there, it can be self-defense.
11. He has become an excellent runner.
You see Brett Favre back with his play fake again. Now, after he hands off, he goes and he does a jump pass. And, that does hold some things. Watch him. He takes the ball. He's going to hand it off here to this side. Then he comes out here and does a jump pass, trying to just hold anything on this back side. Now, if they don't stay, then he knows that he can come back. You see the old jump pass?
That's a good
holding
move.
Someone back to that side just for a half a step. If they don't stay back there, then he'll keep it.
This is Levens again. Gets into Carolina territory at about the 49. Andre Royal made the stop.
This Green Bay offensive line has been doing a heck of a job. Watch Frank Winters here. The first thing, if you're going to run right or left or wherever you run, your center has to cut off that nose tackle. You see, you have to get some kind of block on him. Now, if he's going to go the way you're going, let him go that way and just push him beyond the play.
Yeah.
That's what Frank Winters did on that play.
2nd and 9. The fake is to Levens. The throw in again to double coverage. Incomplete.
Now, he just doesn't care, Brett Favre.
Well, he thinks he can get the ball in there. And he can, for the most part.
We talked about Frank Winters and Frank Winters block, and another guy that has really, in my mind, solidified this offensive line is a rookie, their left tackle, Ross Verba. I think that, that's been the position that they've worried about. They haven't got they had Wilkerson there, they had Michaels there, things that were. They finally put Verba in there, and I think that's solidified this entire offensive line.
Favre again, incomplete, intercepted. Picked off by Chad Cota. And the Panthers get a badly needed break.
And I was just saying that Brett Favre didn't care, and he didn't care. I mean, he was going to throw it. He was going to throw it into coverage. You see, he has pretty good pass protection here. Again, he throws it into Brooks, but he throws it a little high and a little hard. And
goalpost, and let's see what they can make happen out of this. They go back toward their own goalpost. Leroy Butler.
Happened because they've had so much success on the wide receivers of the Panthers. They can take their strong safety, Leroy Butler, and they could bring him up here. See, and that gives you that 8-man front. And now he can just play the run, or he can just blitz, and that's what Butler does here. You see, he's kind of hanging in there. There's only one back. He hits that hole perfectly. They were going play fake. They were going to try and bootleg, but they were bootlegging right into Leroy Butler. You see, he's coming on that side, and just as Kerry Collins fakes the hands off and turns, whack, there's number 36.
2nd and 17. Here's Collins at they're trying to set up a screen pass. The Packers read it perfectly, and Collins goes down. Chased by Holland.
You know, that's the thing that we were talking about, and Fritz Shurmur knows that, the defensive coordinator of the Green Bay Packers, that if they can't hurt you outside, if the outside receivers can't hurt you, then you can really gang up in the inside, and that's exactly what we're seeing, and that's what we saw when Roy Butler was up there. He wasn't even worried about the pass. He was up there to stop the run and then to blitz if there were a pass.
Fritz has got some weird signals, doesn't he?
Looked like that had something to do with his teeth, didn't it? Huh? Gap.
Yeah.
That means gap. That's what it is.
That's right. Pass is caught by Ernie Mills. Came out of his shoes.
Ernie Mills is a third wide receiver today. And you're just going to see the Packers go to a three-man line, and they're blitzing Butler again. They're blitzing their linebackers. They're going all out on the blitz, and they just bring Mills right across, and Kerry Collins hits him perfectly because there's no one there. He knows two things, Kerry Collins does. He knows that he has man-to-man coverage because of the blitz, and there can't be any underneath coverage.
Lane. For good yardage, down to about the 26.
Rocket Ismail is out today for Carolina, so that's what makes Mills the third wide receiver. Ismail is usually the third wide receiver, but when they go to three today, it's going to be Muhammad, Caruth, and Mills.
Second down, about 4. 14-0 Packer lead.
I tell you, that completed pass got him out of the blitzing.
Yep. Incomplete.
See what happened? It just took that one thing. I think that completion on a blitz to Ernie Mills. It just took that completion to kind of back him off a little, because Fritz Shurmur and the Packers defense was getting more and more aggressive, saying that Kerry Collins couldn't do it. And when Kerry Collins hit that one, then they backed off a little.
Reggie White back in the contest.
Reggie White has problems this year, doesn't he? He has a bad back. He's had the flu all week, and he hasn't practiced in about a month.
Collins looking, throwing, complete to Walls for no gain.
There's another one of those things that drive me crazy. I mean, I still don't understand this football. You have 3rd and 3, and you have to get the ball down the field. I mean, it's 3rd and 3. Here's where the first down is. You have to get there. But to come out on a bootleg and have a guy run a pattern for no yards, I really don't understand that. I mean, I don't know how that gets to be where a guy can run that pattern short. I mean, when you complete a 3rd down pass, when it's 3rd and 3 or 4, and then have to kick, that to me is dumb.
3rd down pass for no gain doesn't make much sense, does it? John Casey. And his field goal is good. And that gets the Panthers on the come to us courtesy of WBTV here in Charlotte. We thank you very much. Well, you can't leave that thing.
Where's the ball, y'all?
Pretty good divot back there, but
isn't that something? If you were one of those cover guys and you're just running down there and you're running down there and you don't see that ball and you wonder where the heck it is, and no one hits you and you wonder what in the heck is going on.
How nonchalant he looked, the kicker.
The one thing you do need.
Yeah.
Now they'll have to hold it. They let it blow off one time, and then the second time, the rule is you have to bring in a holder.
Kicking tees have come a long way. Very sophisticated now.
The holder came in and didn't know which side to get on. He didn't know that he has a left-footed kicker. So when you do that, you got to get on the other side. Clifton Abraham is the holder. He never even touched it. You see that? He never put his finger on it.
Don Beebe. To the 26. That tee looked like something you might feed the dog out of instead of a kicking tee. Packer milestones today. Brett Favre and now has the team record for the most career pass attempts. That had been held by Bart Starr and Dorsey Levens. 1,318 rushing yards, the second highest single season total. That had been held by Jim Taylor. Taylor still the leader.
Yeah, Jim Taylor had the first and the second.
Yeah. That's Levens for about 8 yards, stopped by Rod Smith.
You know, here's one of the guys that has really been playing well for the Carolina Panthers is Les Miller. I mean, he's been playing tackle. He's been playing end, right side, left side. He's just an old journeyman, but he's the type of guy that comes in and wherever he plays, it doesn't make any difference. You know, hey, Les, go over and play in the right, go over and play in the left, go play in the middle. He said he'd rather be in the middle because then you get hit by everyone. You don't care.
Every time. That is Levens again. Our Aflac trivia question, and I feel pretty safe with this one.
You mean safe knowing it's true, or that no one will know it?
That no one will know it. Who is known as the founder of the huddle? Whether it's the old stand and face the quarterback, or everybody put your hands on your knees and stand in a circle.
Because there was a time when the teams didn't huddle up the way they do now right on the field. They used to do like they did in basketball or other sports, where they would come to the sideline and talk to the coach.
To Don Beebe. Again, the question is, who invented the huddle? Basically, the founder of the huddle, Herb Huddles McCracken, while he was the coach at Lafayette College.
So that was his nickname, was Huddles?
Huddles.
But where do you get that information?
I'm not sure where that came from.
I think it came from our stage manager, Rich Nelson.
I am absolutely.
I'm not sure how accurate that is.
That was before my time, even.
I didn't even read about it. They weren't even writing books about stuff in those days.
Here's the prankster. Brett Favre slides right back at the line of scrimmage.
You see, he was looking for Earl Dotson. Earl Dotson came back and picked one off. This is what caused it. You see, they're trying to get a screen pass now. Now they know that they're trying to get down there, so they're trying to get out to the left. So the defensive guys feel it. The offensive guys are going there, and they just created a big pile.
There was nobody to screen to accept the screen pass. 3rd and 5. 2 tight ends set up for the Packers. Favre. Complete, first down. Antonio Freeman. Rod Smith knocked him out of bounds.
You know, on that last play, we were talking, watch what Dotson is going to do here. And watch when Brett Favre feels the pressure, he just does a reverse spin. And then he comes right here, and then he waits for Dotson, whap, to do that ear holder.
He just loves to play the game and enjoys life.
And this is the next play here where he throws that perfect pass to Antonio Freeman. But you're right, it is a game, and if it is a game, it should be fun, and he makes it fun.
Levens. Up the field is Levens, and out of bounds after he picked up about 15. Chad Cota knocked him out of bounds.
Yeah, if Dorsey Levens doesn't watch it, he's going to become one of the best backs in this league.
18 yards he got on that carry.
But he gets good block from that left side, a good lead by Henderson, and then he gets to a point here where he just outruns a couple. And then he gets out in the corner and he just runs right through Tyrone Poole. If you are going to tackle Dorsey Levens in the open field, you aren't going to tackle him the way Tyrone Poole tried to.
9
just
carries.
by reaching out of hand.
9 carries, 59 yards for Levens. 2 tight ends set up. Favre fake to Levens. Fires incomplete, intended for Don Beebe.
Don Beebe just had his first catch of the year. You know, when we talked to Mike Holmgren last night, and he calls the plays so he can control them. You see, he's looking at those plays. He has 19 passes. He said at the end of the game, he would like to get through this game and only have 25 passes and, of course, run the rest. But, I mean, you can't you can script the plays or you can have starting points, but you never know how a game's going to go. And you don't know the night before how you're going to feel the next day.
That's absolutely right. Here's Favre on the slant to Antonio Freeman. Stopped by Tyrone Poole.
The other thing that I know about guys that call plays, as we see here, now you got to get inside. You see, you make a fake. Now, once he gets inside like that, then Brett Favre has a completion. But the one thing I know about guys that call plays, usually offensive coordinators or ex-quarterback, once they start passing, they have a hard time getting back to the run. But Dorsey Levens helps Mike Holmgren.
Here is Levens. Levens gets about 3. Stopped by Sam Mills. Sam Mills has been playing for some time.
Well, Sam Mills really has something. He has a son in college, and that has to be a deal where on a bye week he went and watched his son play in college, and then on a vacation break his son came and watched him. Now that has to be, it's something to be able to go watch your son, but it's also something for a son in college to watch his dad play pro football.
Favre is going to throw this one away. The play pass didn't take. He looked left, looked right, and then said, well, we'll just throw it out of the end zone.
Plus, the other thing about Sam Mills and his wife, they just had a new baby this past week, Sierra.
Congratulations, Sam.
So Sam has a newborn and one in college and a couple in between. You know, you look for a role model and work ethic and what pro football is all about. Sam Mills is a pretty good guy to look at.
Yes, he will. Yes, he is. That's Henderson banging his way down to about the 6.
You know, the Packers really have this offensive line clicking now. And to me, they started in the second half against the Dallas Cowboys, when this whole group is just firing out there, getting these guys, they're controlling, getting these guys going back, not allowing penetration. And then whether you hand it to Henderson like this or Levens, you see that you get a little trap, a little fold block in there, and everybody, right, left, middle, they're creating holes in every area.
They don't knock a lot of people down, but they do a good job positioning. Here's Favre. He's a little tough to knock down. Incomplete. Intended for Don Beebe. The hotel and the stands, and as always at the game, a lot of Packer fans made this trip.
Well, you know, last week in in Tampa, they figured that they had almost as many fans there as they did Tampa Bay fans, and they didn't think that would happen in Carolina. But as I look out at this crowd, I see a lot of cheeseheads. I see a lot of yellow hats. And just look around here, and you see a lot of yellow in these first 2 rings.
Most of them were in our hotel. In the hall. 4 wide receivers. They give to Levens. He gets to the 5. On
Panther cap, but then what's on top of the cheese grater?
Well, the Panther balloon. Is that clever? Here's Favre. He still almost got away from everybody, but didn't. Michael Barrow finally got there.
You know, and they know that they have to stay with. I mean, Favre is so quick and he's so strong. He keeps his feet going all the time. Here's Michael Barrow here, and he just stays with it. Barrow knows that he's coming out. He's coming out. He stays with him. As he tries to jump out, he just brings both ankles and puts them together.
Longwell back to attempt a 31-yard field goal. Plenty of distance. And it is good. 17-3. Timeouts left. Carolina 3. Green Bay about to kick off. Leading 17-3 with 1:23 left. Longwell's kickoff is going to be handled by Bates, the Pro Bowl return man, and he's got some room. Out of bounds at the Packer 46. Good return.
And that's why he's a Pro Bowl return man. You watch him. He's going to get the ball here, and the wedge is going to be in the middle. You see the wedge form in the middle. Then he starts into the wedge, then breaks out to the side. Then with his speed, he just turns it right up. If he kept it in about 3 more yards, then he could have cut back. He got too close to the sideline at the end. That was still pretty doggone good, and it gives the Panthers what they need, good field position.
48-yard return by Bates. They have all of the timeouts remaining. Collins on first down, fires incomplete. Wesley Walls was the intended receiver. Wesley got his coat back.
Yeah, that was something, wasn't it? They went to Denver, and his wife got him a new imported coat, an Italian top coat, and he wore it for the first time, put it on the plane, and
left the label on it.
Yeah, left the label on it. And then when he got off the airplane, they gave him someone else's top coat, and it was made in this country.
Yeah.
And it wasn't, you know, one of those expensive top coats. And it was a chaplain that had it.
Collins throws high again, intended for Ernie Mills. Here's a few boos.
Well, I think
if somebody's going to steal your coat, might as well be a father.
Well, you know when the chaplain does it, you're going to get it back. I think the fans were booing Kerry Collins on that, and I think Kerry Collins was going out and relaying those boos to Ernie Mills.
No question about it.
He didn't think that Ernie Mills was in the area that he was thinking he was supposed to be in.
So it's 3rd and 10. They're 1 out of 7 on 3rd down. Here's Collins. Underthrows Ernie Mills. And the boos get a little louder.
And someplace you'd think you'd have to get the ball to Muhammad and Caruth, his two starting wide receivers.
Don't forget, coming up, the Dockers Khakis halftime report, scores from around the league. And the highlights of, well, what about that Indianapolis game with Miami? 41-0. Indianapolis beats Miami. Back to field. Russell done some job. Congratulations to the Giants.
Yeah, he did a heck of a job coming in there, and they were getting a little stale, and he gave them from the beginning. He gave them some freshness.
Yep. That's Dorsey Levens, who gets about 9 yards. Now that applies to the NFC East to go in undefeated in their own division, as I said, which is the NFC East.
You know, and if the Carolina Panthers are going to be in this game or in any playoffs, they're gonna again have to start having some success in the second half throwing the ball. Kerry Collins only completed 2 passes. That one to Ernie Mills, remember, in the cross, and then
the first down.
The second one was to Wesley Walls for no gain. So really, he's only completed 1 forward pass in the entire first half for a plus gain.
Here's Favre, pump fake. Favre fires to Beebe, and Beebe gets into Carolina territory.
You know, it'd be fun to be a wide receiver and play with Brett Favre, because, you know, if you just got any kind of opening at all, you're going to get the ball. This is what it would look like if you were playing with Brett Favre as a wide receiver. This is what it looks like coming at you. And all you have to do is get something. I mean, just get a little opening. Just give him something to throw at. Give him a little target, and he is going to hit that target.
It comes at you like a missile.
And this is going to be number 22 here, and they were talking about 25 times for the entire game.
There's Favre. Thrown 2 touchdown passes in this game. He's going deep for the end zone. Incomplete. Incomplete.
Rick Shermer's given him a lot of looks. I mean, he's had 3-man line, 4-man line, 8 men up, blitzing safeties, blitzing corners, bringing everyone, never showing him the same defense on a play back-to-back.
Casey to kick off. Aaron Hayden and Don Beebe back deep for Green Bay. They lead 17-3. Packers a pretty good looking machine. Casey's kick will be handled by Don Beebe. Beebe to about the 37, and let's look at the breakdown for Brett Favre, the way he's goes about his operation.
Well, you know what he does is he goes back in rhythm, and they either go a 3-step drop or a 5-step drop. And then there's sometimes he throws out of rhythm. But when he's been in rhythm, he was 10 out of 18, 2 touchdowns and 1 interception. On the move, you know, when that rhythm's been broken and he's had to move either in the pocket or out of the pocket, he was 0 for 5 in the first half. Sometimes he's better when he's out of rhythm.
They open with 3 wide receivers. That's Antonio Freeman, who makes the catch for a gain of about 6.
No one blew the whistle.
Nope.
Antonio Freeman went down, and they thought he was down, but the officials didn't blow the whistle, so he was able to get up and get a couple more yards. Although they look like they're marking it where he first went down. I think they're saying he probably went out of bounds there, but they did not blow the whistle. They didn't blow the whistle, and they're right down in front of us.
Sean King, these are for the Panthers. Sean King and Davids Garrido are both out of the game. They will not return. A couple of keys to this Carolina setup. Green Bay to 11. No gain.
In fact, I think I see on the Packer offensive line, I don't think that Earl Dotson is in there for the second half. I don't know that, you know he is suffering migraine headaches, but he does have problems with migraine headaches.
Bruce Wilkerson.
And you see Bruce Wilkerson right here is now the right tackle for the Green Bay Packers. I mean, it could mean nothing. It could mean that they're just giving Earl Dotson a rest, but it could mean that there's also something wrong with Earl Dotson.
He has a bruised left shoulder, not related to the migraines. Favre gets it with a body draped around him, throws the complete pass to Antonio Freeman.
And you wonder, there's one of the things that only Brett Favre can do. I mean, he goes back there, and we talk about being in rhythm, being out of rhythm, and we see him back here, and he's going to go and pass from here. We see Antonio Freeman down here, and you know that he can go, and he's so big and so strong that he can break the tackle.
You forget how big he is.
You see, and he pumps, and then he just throws right through a tackle.
Yeah. First down, Green Bay, and this is Levens. Dorsey Levens lost a yard. Chad Cota up quickly to make the stop.
You notice how Dorsey Levens, and we saw it coming last year. Remember it, in fact, against Carolina in the championship game, where Dorsey Levens looks like one of those backs that just gets stronger and stronger as the game goes on, and stronger and stronger, like in the third quarter and the fourth quarter, and he gets more and more yardage as the game goes on.
Favre to throw. Mark Shimura, the tight end. Not quite a first down. Dorsey Levens in the first half. This is the whole season now. 591 rushing yards. As John Madden said, in the second half he gets stronger and has 770 rushing yards.
And part of that has to do with winning too. As you're winning, you'll run the ball more.
Levens gets the first down. Wasn't much there when he first had a look, so he took it to the outside and got it.
But that's what all the players are saying about Dorsey Levens now. At one time, remember when he used to back up Edgar Bennett? He was kind of a third down back, and he would come in and run some draws, and they would throw him the ball. And they didn't know if he was a durable and a real strong runner. But as he became the featured back, he's become tougher and tougher, and now everyone's talking about how hard he is to tackle.
I don't think he knew if he could take the heavy load either. Here he is. Still on his feet as Levens gets back to the line of scrimmage. Maybe a half yard he picked up.
Michael Barrow played that pretty well.
Yeah.
He was the outside linebacker on that side, and the first thing he did, in fact,
Jolly. Henderson rumbles inside the Carolina 30.
That's a heck of a call by Mike Holmgren. I mean, who would think on 2nd and long the Panthers go to a nickel defense, Now they go to one back, and you're sure that they're not going to run the ball, and because the only guy they got there is William Henderson, and they run the ball. They get in a passing formation. Henderson is the only back there. You think he's going to be a blocker. They hand him the ball on a draw, and he gets a first down.
Yeah, pretty good run, too.
A heck of a run. I mean, that's the thing that William Henderson can do. I mean, you think he's a blocker and a little pass receiver, but he is also a good runner.
Favre's fake, and he fires. Pass caught by Antonio Freeman. First down at the Carolina 12.
Yeah, we were talking about how you don't have to be very open. Now watch here, Freeman, he makes a little move to the inside, you see, and then back to the out. Now he's open right there, and here comes the ball. Watch, he's open by about a half a step, and Brett Favre knows that he can lead him out a couple steps, and that Freeman will use his body. That is perfect.
Earl Dotson is back out of the locker room now. Here's Levens inside the 10, about the 9.
You know, it seems like the Green Bay Packers have had the ball this whole game, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does.
It seems like the offense has been out there, that the Packer defense has really been rested and fresh, and the Panther offense hasn't been out there at all. Well, there it is right there. Like they've been out there twice as long, had almost twice as many plays.
2nd and 7. 2 tight ends set up for Green Bay. Favre back to throw it. Gets it to Dorsey Levens, and Levens gets down to about the 5.5 yard line.
You know, the backup tight end for the Packers, Jeff Thomason, isn't active today,
Right.
so their only other tight end is Tyrone Davis right there, number 81.
And they like him.
And they like him, and they have some plays for him down in this area too, you know, and that's why they put him in there. I mean, part of the thing is he's not a real blocker. He's more of a pass receiver type of guy, but you know, he is a receiver that is a big target in that end zone.
You wouldn't be surprised then to see him score a touchdown here, huh? That is Antonio Freeman's third, or second, Favre's third of the day.
I think the way Brett Favre is going to Antonio Freeman, why change that? Here's Antonio Freeman right here. Now, we know that once he gets inside, you see he makes a little move to the outside. In fact, a great move to the outside on Tyrone Poole. Then he holds Poole to the outside. Then he gets that step to the inside, and Brett Favre is going to hit him on that slant.
Ryan Longwell for the extra point, which is good. 9 passes. That scoring drive, 12 plays, 65 yards. Favre was 6 for 6 in that drive.
And when you have numbers like that and pass protection like the Packers have had, why not throw it every down?
Why not? Bates. Packers are down in a hurry. Bates is down at about the 13, where the Panthers will have a long way to go. Antonio Freeman. And for nature, 24-3. The Packers leading. Packers still hoping that something will happen to the 49ers so they can play a couple of playoff games at Lambeau Field.
Well, the 49ers would have to lose 2, and the Packers would have to win both of theirs.
Running hard is Fred Lane. This game summary is brought to you by Bud Light. Favre is 16 out of 29, 275 yards. 3 touchdowns. Freeman has caught 8 for 125. 215 yards, as I said. Carolina eliminated with a loss, so they're going to have to get some things going.
And Green Bay is looking awfully good.
Fred Lane.
You know, and I've always said that, you know, that you get in position to make a run for the playoffs before Thanksgiving, and after Thanksgiving you make a run for the playoffs, and then the team that is peaking as they go into the playoffs is usually the team that goes to the Super Bowl. And to me, the Green Bay Packers right now are one of the teams, and there could be other teams that are going to be peaking from Thanksgiving, you know, until the end of the season, but the Green Bay Packers are one of them.
Most definitely. Outside the 30 to the 31. First down, Carolina.
Isn't Fred Lane something? Here's the guy that undrafted free agent from Lane College, and you get into a big game like this where you have to beat the Green Bay Packers to stay alive, and you kind of put it all on Fred Lane's shoulders. And
Fred Lane, undrafted, as you said, 13 carries, 59 yards today. I asked him yesterday how he reflected on being undrafted at a small college and how he felt today being asked to carry the load. He said, well, sometimes I smile.
He said, sometimes when I'm all by myself and I think about it, I just smile.
I smile.
Kind of a nice story, you know, because
Yeah,
it really is
story.
an underdog story. You know, the one that, I mean, we know about all the high draft choices that get paid big bonus money, and sometimes it's refreshing the guy that doesn't get paid any, doesn't get drafted,
Lane
comes
College.
in and beats out some #1 draft choices.
Lane College in Tennessee, very small, enrollment about 250. For a McDonald's game break, let's return to James Brown at the Fox Television Center in Hollywood.
Well, Pat, as you and John know, the end of a reign for the Dallas Cowboys. Definitely not, obviously, the NFC East champs. And the first time since 1990 will not go to the postseason. Desperation play ended the game against Cincinnati as the Bengals upended them 31-24 today. Let's take it back to Pat Summerall and John Madden.
3rd and 3. Here at Ericsson Stadium. 3 wide receivers for Carolina. Collins back to throw it. Pass is caught, not enough for a first down.
Yeah, that's another one of those things, and you know, and nothing's really going right for the Carolina Panthers today, but that's one of those situations where it's 3rd and 3 and you throw a pass short of the first down marker.
Ray Caruth made the reception.
And they're going to get a measurement on this one, but he said he probably won't go home next week. In fact, they have 3 games in 13 days, and it was also last week was the first time that they didn't wear pads.
Well, they call the place he slept the cell. That's Ray Caruth again. Tackled by Eugene Robinson. And if Caruth had gotten by Robinson, he had some pretty clear sailing.
You know, they're going to have to work in the offseason with Muhsin Muhammad and Ray Caruth. Ray Caruth being their #1 draft choice this year. You know, their young wide receivers work with Kerry Collins and get something going, because in this league you have to be able to get the ball to wide receivers.
Collins is behind the intended receiver, Ray Caruth.
Caruth is upset there because he did have man-to-man. The closest guy to him was Eugene Robinson, and he could have caught the ball if we're thrown in front of Robinson or on this side of Robinson, and Kerry Collins just threw a bad pass. You don't want to do too many of those. I mean, you know, Kerry Collins knows that he threw a bad pass, and he doesn't have to be reminded by a player in front of a big crowd like this.
Not as big as it was.
Well, in front of any crowd.
Right. It was a sellout, of course. All of them are here. Blitz coming. Collins just barely got rid of it.
That's that old thing that he didn't even throw it to a receiver. He was just trying to get rid of it. And when your passing game gets to that you don't have a hot receiver, you're going to see the blitz coming. And again, this is a Frick Shermer thing. If you don't block his blitzes, he's just going to keep doing it. And when you get free, Kerry Collins just has to throw the ball away.
Pressured
just
by
so they can punt.
Jermaine Smith. Nobody blocked him. Darren Sharper back deep. That is an excellent punt. Well, people ask me all the time. The running back for the Packers. Standing back in his own end zone. Brooks goes in motion. Favre goes back to pass. Freeman tried to run the old hitch and go. Didn't work.
Listen to Favre saying, hey, he tackled the guy. See, when he's throwing the hitch, that he's going to do that stop. And he did tackle him right there.
Pool. Rod Smith.
Yeah, I think part of that was Freeman, though. I mean,
Yeah.
Freeman kind of ran into Rod Smith, and when he did run into him, it looked like Rod Smith kind of grabbed him. But Brett Favre saw the whole thing.
Aaron Hayden gets all the way to the 15-yard line, stopped by Mike Mentor, one of the two safeties, and nobody touched him until he got to the safeties.
Well, and that's the dominant offensive line. To me, this line started dominated in the second half. I said this earlier against the when the Green Bay Packers played the Dallas Cowboys, when they dominated the Cowboys. To me, that was the start of the domination of this group here and the start of the downfall of the Dallas Cowboys this year.
Henderson gets the carry. Picks up about 4.
Because Frank Winters in there, Aaron Taylor, Adam Timmerman, those guys in the middle. I mean, they just blew everything out there. You don't talk much about Timmerman, but he quietly does a good job in there. Frank Winters, the center, you know the type of job he does.
Wouldn't you say he's the key to the offensive line, Winters?
Frank Winters is. That's what Brett Favre says. He thinks that if there's anyone that he would have to not play with, the first guy that he wouldn't want to not play with is Frank Winters.
Favre going deep for Brooks. Brooks ran out of bounds, forced out of bounds, covered well by Rod Smith.
And that's Brooks's fault there because he gets too close. When you're going to run it up, you have to give your quarterback some room on the sideline because he has to be able to throw the ball over and to your outside shoulder. But when you get right up against the sideline, then he can't throw it to your outside shoulder, and you can get run out of bounds the way Robert Brooks just got ran out of bounds on that play.
3rd down, about 7. 7 for 11. The Packers are on 3rd down conversions. That's good.
He hasn't hit Mark Chmura in a long time.
Favre gets rid of it. Intended for Henderson. Lucky to get rid of it. Had people draped around him.
He was up there saying something to Michael Barrow. Barrow has been pretty active against him all day. Here's Barrow right here. And you see he makes a little move there on Hayden, and he's the guy that gets the sack or forces Brett Favre to throw the ball. Favre looked up and said, "You didn't have to slam me in the ground like that." Barrow said, "You've been making a long day for us."
Craig Hendrick, short kick. Rolls away from the return man.
You want to play in this league. Here's Terry Mickens. Now, he's what they call the gunner. He's one of the guys on the punt coverage that can go down. Then they put 2 guys to hold him up. And watch what these 2 guys do to him. First, they knock him out of bounds. That's why the official's helmet went down, or hat went down. And then I don't think they have rules for those guys anymore.
I don't think so either.
I mean, they grab, look what they do. I mean, they grab, they pull, they push, they tuck, they tucker, they do everything, and then they thank each other. They say, "Nice work." But I think all rules are off on that deal.
Collins complete to Ray Caruth for a Carolina 1st down. Stopped by Seth Joyner.
Well, we've been talking all day about what the Carolina Panthers have to do, and they have to widen this field a little. And the way you widen the field is, of course, to hit one of your wide receivers. And when you're 24-3 in 1:17 seconds left to go in the 3rd quarter, you're getting a little late start on doing it.
Collins having problems hearing the calls. You know, he has a microphone, of course, in his helmet, or a receiver in his helmet, not a microphone. The plays are called into him by that method. Goes deep, very deep. Problem being he had no receiver deep.
Now, the one receiver that he had deep was Ray Caruth, and there were 4 Green Bay Packers back there, so he knew that if he threw it to Caruth, it was probably going to be an interception. Because watch what happens here, and you'll see when he throws the ball, Caruth is going to be in the middle. Now, if we can stop it right now, we see this is what he's looking at, and he knows that he got the double here, so he just throws it over his head, so it's not intercepted. Had he thrown that ball to Caruth, that would have been intercepted.
2nd and 10. Red lane. Flag on the play. Back at the line of scrimmage. Another flag downfield. That had to be for face mask, the last one. 2 flags. One way downfield where Lane was running, and the other behind the line of scrimmage.
Yeah, and the one behind the line of scrimmage is in the area of offensive holding against the Panthers. One downfield is usually in the area of a face mask violation.
No, it didn't. Fred Lane is not inclined to run out of bounds, is he? Second down. Collins gets the ball to Ray Caruth, and Caruth struggles for another yard, gets to 39. Boys, all parts of the game.
Well, you know, I think he looked at that and decided that that thing on his shin wasn't big enough to really deserve that big a band-aid, so he took it off.
I think he might be through playing for the afternoon or for the evening.
Especially if the Packers hold the Panthers here. Don't let them in for a score, I'm talking about, not on third down. But I think the deeper we get into the fourth quarter, and if the Panthers don't score, I wouldn't be surprised if Brett Favre would be finished for the day. I think if the Panthers were to score here, I think Mike Holmgren would rethink that.
Lane got the first down, 1st and 10.
But you see, if you're going to have a big old Band-Aid like that on your leg, then you better have something that's worthy of it. If it's not worthy of it, then you better take it off.
I look pretty serious.
Before someone cut. No.
No?
No.
Fred Lane. Touchdown, Fred Lane.
Watch his dance now.
Forgot to dance.
He's not going to do it.
Got the ball.
He just takes it. He gets a lead block here. Boy, they really get a good kick out. They get Leroy Butler blocked. He runs right by Eugene Robinson and then just dives into the end zone. That was kind of pretty good blocking by the Panthers and some poor defense by the Packers.
KC for the extra point is good. A lot of time left. 14-16.
And I'm sure the next time, or when the Packers get the ball this time, Brett Favre will still be in there.
KC's kickoff sails to Don Beebe. Beebe is taken down at the 20. There's Fred Lane's
yards.
Heck of a back. Heck of a find.
He said after the season he's going to take a couple weeks off and then come back here and work the entire offseason to get better.
We asked the Carolina Panthers yesterday when they thought he was going to be what he has become. That's Aaron Hayden running for the Packers. They said the second day he was in camp, they knew he was something special.
Yeah, and usually you do. You know, I mean, if someone is something special, it doesn't take you weeks and months to find out. I mean, it takes some people time to develop, to get ready to play and those types of things. But if a guy's a player, you know it the first day, like the Packers knew about Ross Verba the first day.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean he's going to play the first day, but you know, hey, this guy's going to be something.
He came in nasty and has remained so. To Freeman. First down, Green Bay. We asked Verba yesterday what was the toughest thing for him to get used to, adjust to, when he came with the Packers and went from college to professional. He said nothing.
Yeah, well, you know, when he was a kid, he had a football field in his backyard, and he was like 8 or 9 years old. And he was playing with kids who were 15, and he said that's how he got to be tough and aggressive, because he was playing with kids twice his age, because he had the field. He had to mow the field, and he had to chalk the field, and then he had to have the ball, and then they'd come and play and let him play.
That's Hayden. And the thing that really started him off on the tough track was being in the basement, he said, and playing in full pads against his father.
He was used to break his nose.
Yeah.
You know, he started out at Iowa. He was a tight end. And then he went from 245, and then he became a tackle, then to 265, then 285, 290 his senior year, .305 this year with the Green Bay Packers. That's development. That's child growth and development.
And a pretty good diet.
And a pretty good frame. Watch out.
Ball's on the ground, and the Packers get it back. Henderson, I believe, got on top of it.
Boy, Mike Minter really timed that thing perfectly. He's a rookie free safety, and he's going to come up and he's going to hit that thing. And you're going to see, here he is right here. But you see, you're back here, and you want to be at this point when the ball is snapped. Now watch Minter. He's timing it and timing it and timing it and timing it. And then just as the ball snapped, he hits that hole, and they have no chance of picking him up.
Hayden came over and tried, but
look how well he timed it. He's not even in the frame there, and then he gets in the frame, and like you said, Hayden couldn't get over and get him blocked.
3rd and 11. Favre thought he was going to get a rest, but the Carolina team got on the scoreboard, and now they've got a lot of enthusiasm going, and Favre is still playing, and this is Hayden.
I think Fred Lane had a little to say about that. When he scored that touchdown, everything changed on that Green Bay sideline. Brett Favre was there with a stocking cap on, and I think Bono was ready to come in, and the Panthers scored that touchdown, and Mike Holmgren pointed to Brett Favre and says, "You're still in there."
So the Packers will have to punt.
But I wonder if something's wrong with Dorsey Levens, because I don't believe that Mike Holmgren would just be resting Dorsey Levens.
This is a fine punt. It bounces into the end.
Here up on the Panthers sideline, then he gets back up and they're still getting him.
1st and 10. Collins stumbled going back. Passes almost caught by Ray Caruth and dropped. I hurt his hand.
Yeah, I
dislocated a finger maybe.
I think that's the first one that they've thrown on Tyrone Williams. He's really developed as a corner. You know, they lost Craig Newsome, and Tyrone Williams has been playing this left corner, and he's been playing pretty well.
Very well.
And that's the first pass that I remember throwing on Tyrone Williams today.
2nd and 10. Pat Summerall with John Madden. We're in Carolina. That's Fred Lane. And Lane gets about 8 yards when it looked like there was going to be about 3. Right now for McDonald's game break, let's return to James Brown at the Fox Television Center in Hollywood.
Pat, a competitively played contest in New Orleans. As you take a look at Billy Joe Hobert, that he finds Randall Thrill Hill only his 2nd touchdown reception on the season. 9 total TD passes by New Orleans. Back to Pat and John.
3rd and 1. Packers fake a blitz. They did blitz. And Lane gets the first down. Eugene Robinson brought him down.
I see we talk about the 8th man up, and you saw the 8th man up for the Packers was Leroy Butler. So what the Panthers did, instead of going, they saw the overload on that right side, so they went away from Leroy Butler and went to the left side. You see, here's Butler. See, this gives them the 8th man up, so they have an overload on this side, so the place to run is back to the other side where they have a balanced defense. That's exactly what Fred Lane does.
Here's Collins back to throw it. Incomplete. Chris Mangum, the intended receiver. This game's presented by authority. The National Football League is intended for the private use of our audience. Any rebroadcast or other use of this telecast without the express written consent of the Carolina Panthers and the NFL is prohibited. Second and 10. 24-10 the score. The Packers leading. 9:20 left. Muhsin Muhammad makes the reception.
See, that was out there on Doug Evans, and again they've been pressing these receivers, and you're going to see here's Doug Evans up here, here's Muhammad here. You see, and they got the tight coverage, so you have to use your size, and you have to get up the field and get by it, push off, you know, and come back a little. Now, if Muhammad would just run that pattern a little deeper, then they would have something going. That same type of thing. Come off the line right now. Don't wait. Don't stand on the line. Get up the field. Get a shoulder on him. Then make your move. Then come back.
3rd and 4. Anthony Johnson in the game. The blitz is coming. Collins gets rid of it. And the pass is on the hop to Ernie Mills.
Well, that's what Fritz Shurmur does. If he can get there with 3, he'll rush 3. If he can't, he'll rush 4, and then he'll go to 5 and 6. And if he can't, he'll just keep adding a guy, because when you have to pass like that on 3rd down, Fritz Shurmur is going to make sure that you throw it before you want to.
8.5 minutes left. Ken Walter, the left-footer, back. High kick, and he's done a good job today.
You know, you saw what it looked like, and now let's just listen to what it hears like, or hear what it listens like. Or hear what it sounds like, or listen to what it hears like, or listen to what it sounds like.
Aaron Hayden.
You wonder what Sharper is listening to right there. You know, it looked like he started the fair catch.
Yeah,
I mean, it looked like his right hand. He started to bring it up and then decided, I better get catching with these hands. And then we saw what it looked like, and then we heard what it sounded like.
2nd and 5. Aaron Hayden. He gets the 5 and gets a first down. Today's game is being produced by Bob Stenner, directed by Sandy Grossman. The associate director is Mike Roig. The broadcast associates Fran Morrison and Charles McDonald. Technical producer Bob Mueller. Studio produced by Scott Ackerson, directed by Bob Levy. Senior producer is Bill Brown, and the executive producers of Fox Sports are Ed Gorin and David Hill. First down, Green Bay. Les Miller.
Yep, from Arkansas City, Kansas.
He got it right. He was very careful.
Oh, yeah. The way it's spelled, you want to call it something else, but he said, don't call Arkansas not Arkansas.
This is Hayden. Across midfield all the way to the Carolina 47 before he's taken down by Rod Smith.
He got in there behind Aaron Taylor and Ross Verba. He's going to come right in here in this left side right here. Boom, you get your blocks right there. He's going to get right into this side right here. You see Verba gets a good down block, good lead block, and that creates a heck of a hole for Hayden.
21-yard gain by Hayden.
Watch Verba right here. He just comes down and just keeps up. You know, he just takes Miller right out of the game. Miller from Arkansas City, Kansas.
Verba from Iowa. Hayden again. Gets about 5 this time.
Verba's from Des Moines, Iowa, and right after his last game, he left school, went down to Florida to start training. He knew what he wanted to be. All his life, he wanted to be a football player. And he wanted to be a pro football player. And when he was through with his last college game, a bowl game, he went down to Florida to start training for his opportunity.
There's Dorsey Levens getting a rest. Aaron Hayden has run very effectively, I'd say. He'll get another try. A couple. Ray Cragen made the stop. Dorsey Levens, nothing wrong with him, just getting a rest.
You know, when you have a runner like that, and, you know, at the end of every run, you're going to see how many hits that he takes. You know, that any time that you get a chance to keep him fresh, you want to do it.
He is big and fast and talented. That's a pretty good group of
and I know what
attributes.
Mike Holmgren is thinking of, that he wants Dorsey Levens to be ready for that playoff game.
3rd and 3.
He wants big Gilbert Brown.
Green Bay headed for another victory. 3rd and 3. Freeman knocked out of bounds inside the 10, about the 9 by Mike Minter.
You know, one time you had the feeling that the Green Bay Packers were just kind of a pretty good team with a great player in Brett Favre, but then as you see some of these other guys like Antonio Freeman come along, and you see
Dorsey
Levens run with the ball, and some of the things Henderson can do, and you can see the offensive line, you realize that Brett Favre, I mean, you know, in fact, one of the Panther players was saying that Brett Favre is the Michael Jordan of the NFL.
Yeah.
And he could be, but he does have a pretty good supporting cast, too. He has some Scottie Pippins.
That's Hayden down to about the 6.
You just saw Mark Chmura there, usually one of Brett Favre's favorite targets, although, you know, since Sterling Sharp left, he really doesn't have that one go-to guy that he feels he has to get the ball to, but he hasn't gone to him much today, and he's one of his best friends. Chmura, I think, only caught one pass today.
That's right.
He and Frankie Bag of Donuts winners.
That's Hayden. Hayden sails into the end zone. Touchdown. Aaron Hayden. That should put him over 100 yards.
That's pretty easy when you get him worn down.
Yeah.
You know, Dorsey Levens is kind of smiling because he knows that he did the work. He knows that that offensive line did the work, and not taking anything away from Hayden, but after you get him worn down a little, it's a lot easier in that fourth quarter.
Hayden has 85. I knew he was getting close.
There's not as much pursuit. There's not as much gang tackling, and the one-on-one tackling isn't very good.
And all you see leaving is the backs of your fans. And the St. Louis Rams head down here to Carolina to take on the Panthers. Coverage begins Saturday at 3:30 Eastern, 12:30 Pacific, right here on Fox. Panthers still have an outside shot at the playoffs. Anthony Johnson, who had such an outstanding year last year.
And you think the whole team had such an outstanding year last year, winning the Western Division, winning the playoff game here against the Dallas Cowboys, going to the championship game against the Green Bay Packers. And this year has been nothing like that.
Collins has to throw, backpedaling, and throws out of bounds.
And you said there's not many fans left here, but the ones that are still here to boo
booing
Kerry Collins.
Yeah.
But again, he really hasn't had the wide receivers to work with, and he's not the same. I mean, I think that he did take a step backwards this year, and part of it was the injury. Part of it was maybe coming back too soon. Part of it was losing 15 pounds. Part of it was just a couple weeks ago against New Orleans, he had a concussion.
Yep.
But he's not the same guy that he was a year ago.
He was saying yesterday he thought that he had learned an awful lot. And if he hasn't, Hayden, no gain. Yeah, you're right about that. Backing into the playoffs is not the way. I'll take it if that's what happens, but that's not the way to get in the playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, somewhere you have to win. I mean, like people are saying Miami's a playoff team. Well, if you're a playoff team, you don't get blown out by Indianapolis. I don't care. And if you're, and the Giants have to play the Redskins. If the Redskins are a playoff team.
2 minutes left at Ericsson Stadium. The Packers 31-10 over the Carolina Panthers. 3rd and 8. Carolina will be eliminated with this loss. Tampa Bay is in. For the first time since 1982, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers will be in the playoffs. Carolina will be eliminated.
And the Buccaneers are one of those teams that that played very well, looked pretty good, and then didn't play so well lately. They were lost to the Packers last week, but then were blown out by the Jets today.
Winter in New England.
This is up in the air, bounces off the shoulder of Anthony Johnson. Did you get a look at the place? They call it the cell, where Dom, you're talking about Dom Capers staying here. Did you stick a head in there?
No, I wouldn't want to stick my head in any place called a cell that,
No.
that some coach slept all week.
I just went in to say hello.
You know, I never did that when I coached, and I never believed in that. I always said I may work real late, I may get up early, but I'm always going to go home at night.
Collins' pass is complete and then fumbled. The Packers have it. Picked up by Roderick Mullen.
Yeah, that's kind of a fitting end to the way the Packers have had their way with this Carolina Panther team today.
Yep.
I mean, anything they've wanted to do on defense, they've done. Anything they wanted to do on offense, running, throwing the ball. This is the type of thing we talked about, a Fritz Shermer defense. They just make plays. I mean, Mullen's going to come up here, and everyone is doing that now. As they go for the tackle, they're also
trying to knock the ball
shooting that hand in there for the strip.
So Green Bay takes over at the Carolina 20.
Listen to this crowd now, Patrick, saying, "Go Pack, go! Go Pack, go!"
Well, the Packer fans are about the only ones left.
Yeah, they're going to enjoy this. They're here, they're out there in their yellow. They want Steve Bono to go.
Bono just kneels down. The clock continues to run.
You know, one thing about Packer fans, whether it's on the road or it's in Green Bay, they have a lot of fun. I mean, Packer fans enjoy their team. They enjoy their football. They enjoy their tradition. They enjoy their food, their tailgate, Lambeau Field, frozen tundra, Lombardi Avenue, Holmgren Way. They enjoy those things.
In addition to all that, when a visiting team goes, there's a letter in the paper this morning, letters to the editor about the courtesy that the Green Bay fans, the way they treated the Carolina fans when they went up last year to the championship game.
Yeah.
Very hospitable.
Yeah, I think that they just enjoy not only their team and the tradition, as I said, but they enjoy football.
Yeah.
And they enjoy it from every side and from both ends of it.
That ought to be. I wonder if that's tough.
Now that's it. Cheese and ground panther, plenty farva beans.
I've never tried ground panther.
I'll tell you, whenever I go there, though, to Green Bay, we always have a chili from Chili John's,
Yes,
don't we?
and that's the best.
I tell you, I started that when we used to stay there at the Northland Hotel. The Northland Hotel and Chili John's of Green Bay, you can't beat that. Reggie White, now you're talking Packers.
Yep. 31-10. Play of the game brought to you by Energizer. Should be plays. Antonio Freeman.
He just used his speed.